Hi, everyone. I'm so thrilled to be here today with Chris Madrigal. Today is our Spark book launch day. That means our book is now live on Amazon, and this is a collaborative book, which I'm so excited about because it really is about igniting change and really exploring possibilities. And when I saw this title, I have to say, I thought about, is this a book that I would want to be in, right? Because writing for me is one of those slower processes. And when I saw the title, I thought, yeah, I have to do this. This is really, really an exciting book. And Chris, I'd love for you to share a bit about your chapter.
Yeah, so I'm just as thrilled as you, Kasha, and I look forward to everybody grabbing their copy. It is available now on Amazon, so please go out 99 cents only to download the digital copy today, and this will support all the incredible authors in becoming best-selling authors. So I just want to put that out there before we jump in because that's the excitement today for everyone who's a part of Spark. It's the opportunity to share their story and simultaneously create that ripple, that impact, and with your support, become best-selling authors. And thank you, Kasha, for this opportunity to really connect and share our stories about Spark. I I guess my chapter is called The Spark Within. And it's really a short story. These are all short stories, which is incredible. And it's really a story of when the light came to me. And this is, metaphorically speaking, but at the same time, not. And it's part of a spiritual journey where the light really came to me in a way to let me know that I've always been divinely guided and divinely supported in my journey in life. And so I share a little bit about that light and how it came to me the very first time, which was really in a dream. And then, secondly, during a QHHT session, quantum healing hypnosis therapy session. And this chapter will go in and kind of share a little bit about it, but it was really a beautiful moment for me where I got all the confirmation that I needed in terms of I've always been supported. Every time where I have felt like life is a little bit shaky, that light has shown up for me. So that's a little bit of my chapter. I'll leave it there so people can go and buy their copy and really truly get ignited with all the stories that you're going to find within it.
And they are such heartfelt stories. I started reading this morning as soon as it was available. I was actually up this morning a little earlier than usual. It was about 4 o'clock Pacific time, and I was really excited to, grab the book at 6 a.m. when it was available. And I started reading, and I just really, love how much heart goes into these collective books, right? Because this is really an opportunity for authors to have a voice if they haven't necessarily had that opportunity before.
Mm-hmm.
And the opportunity for me was really in these last few months to see what I wanted to write about, and I realized that collaboration and that depth of curiosity in collaboration is a topic that really sparked me because I could see that in organizations, it was something that just wasn't going deep enough. Like we know classically that we have silos between departments, and
Mm-hmm.
that can really get in the way of collaboration. And then when I was looking outside of the organization, I was a solopreneur, and I would have conversations, but the depth of collaboration just didn't really show up for me until I was part of the first book launch that our wonderful organizer here of AMA Publishing, Monique Alvarez, put together, and that book was Leaders. That was a few years ago. And when I saw that power of the launch and these energies of the authors coming together and sharing the book globally, that is when I realized, wow, this is something I haven't really seen happen before in any global organization. So that sparked me to realize I want to be a better collaborator. I want to learn how to do this, better outside of organizations with other entrepreneurs. So I've been on that journey of learning myself to reflect on how can I be better at this. And it's
Yeah.
certainly something that I'm really passionate about to help leaders inside organizations have that curiosity, build that curiosity to go deeper in their knowledge of people, in their knowledge of, you know, uh, processes, and explore what else is possible beyond what is already there. So I'm
Yeah.
really thrilled about that chapter. I wrote it very quickly this time. Last time I remember the process of writing was very lengthy for me. And this time the chapter was a bit shorter. So I was happy to, use the fuel of the idea that I had and write it in a couple of hours this time.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And so, Chris, do you know a little bit of the backstory of, what it takes to publish a book like this? I'd love for you to share a bit about that and what your journey has been, what your observations have been.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. And I will say, this is my fifth collaboration book with Alma Publishing. I was a part of one, and similar to you, Kasha, it was one of those things of this is a beautiful process. It is a great way to connect with people around the world, with people who share, I'm going to say, a similar interest depending on the book, right? Because each book comes with a theme. And so it gave me the opportunity after that first book, before it even launched, I signed up to put my own collaboration book together. So that gave me a little bit more of that behind the scenes of what it takes to bring, in this case it was women, to bring women together, bring Latinas together, to put this, collective voices out together. And it was an incredible process. Since then, I've collaborated with Monique on several other books and putting them out to get out to the world. But I have to tell you, in the last year, it's been a little bit of a different energy. And this book, Spark, along with two others, Transforming Pain into Purpose and Sacred Redesign, they'd been out for a while. And it's almost, Monique and I always say this, it's almost like the books are there, the titles come to Monique in very many different ways, typically in her sleep and her dreams, but then it's almost like the book itself has to be ready to come out to the world. It's and its own timing. And I could say that about Sacred Redesign. We talked about Sacred Redesign for a long time. And it was almost like Monique and I were simultaneously going through our own redesign, and separately, but almost like, laterally at the same time. And when the book was determined to come out, it was like, yes, it's complete. This is the time. We've gone through this redesign. And Spark just feels very, very similar. It's it's a book that again was out there, but it was almost like the spark had to be really ignited for it to come to the world. And so here we are. It was supposed to launch at the end of last year, and for multiple reasons and authors going through different family matters, the launch was put off. And I can tell you, Kasha, this has been probably the funnest, most igniting book launch that I've been a part of in Monique's world. Of course, she's done dozens of them, right? But there is something with the authors in Spark that they're on fire. Like the book itself, the title, the authors are absolutely ignited. And obviously, most of these authors, if not all the, I'm going to venture to say all the authors, are in Monique's world, right? And when I sit there and I look at all the authors that are in Spark, in one way or another, Kasha, you may agree with this. People are connected, people are networking, people are in each other's worlds. And I think that is the power of a collaboration book. It's not just, oh, hey, look, I'm sharing my story, which is amazing. That's like a huge goal of so many people, but it's the impact that comes with that, the connections, where if you know how to leverage it, it creates massive ripples in the people involved.
And so, what were some of the challenges that you saw were a part of this kind of process? And you've created your own books. What do you run into? Because I see this, I can see that this is a bit of like a birthing process where you have a lot of kids to round up, all the authors. Am I right? Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, so it's an interesting journey because people have this well, obviously those that step forward and say, yes, I want to write a chapter, they have that within them. They either always wanted to be a writer, wanted to be a published author, or it just came to them and the opportunity was presented and the timing was right. But something interesting happens. Like once you say yes, and once you start writing the chapter, all these stories start to come, all these different whether it's limiting beliefs or you question yourself, and is this the right story, and what are people going to say, and when my story comes out, are they, who's going to say what, and there's probably going to be people that are going to say all these different things that you're already imagining, but it's a matter of really anchoring in why you chose to write your story. What is it, what does it mean to you, not what does it mean to the world, because somebody's always going to have something to say, even those close, very close to you. In fact, maybe some of those individuals that are closest to you may not even buy the book, right? Because I don't know, society is, that's just how we are, human nature, and sometimes people get triggered just by the things that you do, and so it creates a lot of emotion in people. And that's probably what I see as the biggest challenge for many authors or first-time authors is you said yes to one of the most incredible things that you're going to do. You share your story, and then all this fear of all these different things start to pop up, and you start questioning yourself if it's the right thing. Is it the right story? Who's going to get offended? Who's not? And it's being able to move through that and really anchor into why you did it for yourself and no one else.
Yeah. So it can be quite a confronting process, and it's sometimes quite uncomfortable having people we know read these stories, right?
Yeah.
Especially if they're highly personal. I know the first time I was writing my chapter, I did remember thinking, I wonder what people are going to think. I was more worried back then about what people think than I am now. And it was a bit confronting to put it out into the universe because all of a sudden the perfectionism can kick in. Like, is it written well enough? All of these questions can pop up, right? So, how do you move through those? Do you find you have to have conversations with authors about it? Do you sort of leave them independently to move through those fears and concerns?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you how I led the book Latinas Rising, which is the one that I put together. And yes, we gathered all the authors. And I want to say maybe we had one or two meetings together as authors. And Monique was a part of those meetings as well. And just really to let them know that all these feelings and emotions that start to pop up, especially as you start writing, because many of these stories are very, very personal. And it's almost like a healing process at the same time, depending on your story, but just really reaffirming to them that it's very common for you to feel all these things, go through all these emotions as you write it, but it's always to come back and anchor in. I mean, one can only provide that kind of support, but it's really up to the author to anchor in, their desire and what it is that they wish to experience and focus on that.
Right. Yeah, it's a fascinating journey. And, I really appreciate your behind the scenes look at what it takes to create that and all the things that come up, right? Because once it's out there, it's shiny, it looks, great with the cover, but you don't always realize how much it takes, to put a book together,
Yeah.
and what a process it is, right? If for anyone that hasn't written a book before, or been a co-author. So thank you for sharing that. So yeah, for anyone that would love to grab a copy of Spark, you can access the links. I'm going to put them actually on the bottom of the video for all the different countries. That way you can grab the right link for your country. And you can also just go to Amazon and put in Spark Igniting Change, and it should be one of the top titles that comes up now. I had a quick look earlier.
Yeah.
And we'd love your support today on launch day. It's available, as Chris said, for 99 cents US. And you can grab your ebook and let us know what you think of the chapters. We'd love to hear which ones really stand out for you, which stories resonate for you personally. If you have any feedback, you're welcome to put it into the comments. The chapters aren't that long, so you can probably read a couple today and let us know what you think.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the beautiful things about collaboration books. It's not like you're picking up a book and oh my gosh, you have to read it in any kind of order. You can just pick any chapter and read it. You can just go through, and see, oh, this title is calling my attention. Read that story, pick up the book the next day, and it works beautifully because every chapter is a different story from a different author. But Kasha, I'd love
Yeah.
to hear from you. Like, what can readers expect from your chapter?
My chapter is really for those people that realize that their relationships could be deeper, their business relationships could be deeper, and especially for businesses, it was about collaborating more closely with clients to understand product market fit, because I feel like there's so much reliance nowadays on data, which can be often out of date because the world is quickly changing. And I think it's just so important to have that close connection with customers, to have conversations and really understand them as well as we can. And I really noticed, for example, during COVID, that there was a reliance on data that just wasn't accurate anymore during that period of time, right? Because um, people were behaving in completely different ways all of a sudden. And COVID was a very clear example of that, but we don't always know what's happening in somebody's world, right? And without that conversation, that depth of collaboration, we don't really know what they need and want as a customer. And so that goes for any size of business, whether it's a solopreneurship or a large organization. We need to still really have a handle on what's happening for people, and that means internally with employees, externally with customers, and bringing that level of curiosity and being present with them to get that depth of understanding and be able to empathize. And recently, I had a great conversation with Mimi Nicklin, who is an empathy advocate.
Oh,
And she's
nice.
speaking globally about empathy and how it's such an important business need, because
Hmm.
sometimes it's dismissed as a soft skill.
Mm,
It's not a soft skill at all, right? It's about understanding.
yeah,
And for me to be able to understand, we have to bring curiosity as well and
I
really
love that.
ask questions, bring interest, and really listen, right, to clarify. And in my work, I've observed sometimes people are reluctant to ask questions. They don't always ask because they might be too busy, or they don't want to look silly asking a question, or they don't want to impose. There's all kinds of barriers that can get in the way. And I think it's important, to be respectful and at the same time ask those questions so that, we can be on the same page so that we're not
Yeah,
making assumptions that just don't work for either person. And of course, sometimes we can't ask every single question under the sun, but we can do our best to understand people better and collaborate better. So that's what inspired me to write this chapter. And I thought about it for some time, and I thought, what's really needed? And that's the one thing that I see that is extremely helpful and important to focus on.
beautiful. Well, I can't wait to read it myself. I haven't had a chance to tune in to read any of them just yet, but it's been a morning of celebrating and just encouraging and inviting everyone of our audience and everyone out there to really go grab their copy today because that will be very supportive and moving this book up the charts to #1.
Yeah, we appreciate your support, everyone. If you tuned in, thank you for listening. And we'd love to hear from you if there's anything that stood out for you from our conversation or from the chapters. It's a way of inviting, conversation, collaboration, and reducing some of the isolation as well, because a lot of you are home based, don't always get the opportunity to have conversations about topics that you care about. So if you care about these topics, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you,
Yes,
Chris,
we
for your
do.
time. Really, really excited to read your chapter. I'm going to go have a read through it at lunchtime today.
All right, I will do the same. Thank you, Kasha.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.